Hi, my name is Joshua, and for my ENCMP contest project, I've made a bullet hell Pikmin game that's kind of like Undertale or Deltarune.
Here's my first version. It essentially just plays like a menu select, but it has like a bunch of code in the background that, as a foundation. So in this project, I'll be using Pygame sprites and groups. Our most important class is the Pikmin group, and every Pikmin object is part of this Pygame group. But we also have a squad class, which Pikmin can break off from when they are attacking enemies. We also have a menu object, which handles the inputs and can load different submenus. We also have enemy and captain classes, but those are just for visuals for now. And then we also have the subtitle class, which is like a class for displaying text, and it can be like animated. Now for the final version, we have a bullet hell system, just like Undertale, but with a twist. Firstly, we have a Pygame group class called Deployed. We instantiate an object of this class called Deployed Troops, and every frame we can check if certain keys are pressed and change the deployed Pikmin to a Pikmin of a different color. And now for the projectiles, basically we have three important classes called Projectile Group, Projectile Spawner, and Projectile. And Projectile Group has all projectile spawners contained in it, as children, and these projectile spawners spawn in their projectiles at certain intervals. Then the projectile spawners reposition their projectiles that they're responsible for and load their hitboxes. The projectiles have a variable called element. So the twist of this game is that certain Pikmin colors are immune to certain elements. So the boulder projectiles will kill all Pikmin, but the geysers can be survived by switching to the right Pikmin type. So before the enemy attacks start, the game checks to see if the pig guys are alive, in which case it spawns in a geyser spawner. And then it checks to see if the worm guy is alive, in which case it spawns in a boulder spawner. When these objects are initialized, they call a function to randomize certain parameters. This function returns a dictionary with randomized values. The reason I used a dictionary was because the values for the different projectile spawners can be heavily parameterized. So instead of setting a gigantic amount of variables when we initialized projectiles and having every projectile make a copy of the data, we can instead make the projectile create a reference to the parent, and from there it can access the randomized parameters. Now I could just spawn in projectile objects and skip the projectile spawners, but the point of this is that each spawner is supposed to represent an attack, and just like in Undertale, attacks can overlap. Another benefit of this system is that it makes more attack variety because the projectiles can spawn on a random side and move to the other, and it can either hinder or benefit you if the different attacks are going in opposite or the same direction. Additionally, the benefit of this system is that it allows for more versatility if I wanted to add more attacks in the future. So let's say I wanted to make a triple pendulum as an attack. It's very easy to position because I could access the values and construct the pendulum from there, as opposed to having these projectiles with their own values and having a bunch of cluttered references to each other to position themselves. So, of course, we're going to have to make this a legally distinct version of Pikmin, so all the assets will be changed in the released version. The way that collisions are detected is by using Pygame's built-in collideRect function. With the hierarchy of my objects in mind, projectile group can loop through its spawners, then each spawner can loop through its projectile, and finally, each projectile can loop through its hitbox, and then check if that's colliding with the Pikmin's hitbox.